Hello, my name is Prime and welcome back to ETS2 Showcases, and today I'll be checking out the 1.55 open beta update for ETS2 that has rolled out recently. The update is available for everyone to opt into, and you can do that via the betas tab in Steam, and the update brings in a number of features for ETS2, and I'll talk about them in today's video. For today's delivery, I'll be hauling some olive trees today here in the West Balkans DLC, more specifically in Croatia, here in Rijeka, and we're going to head down to Zadar today, a delivery that has some interesting sections of road, especially right up here by Rijeka, and paired with this Volvo FH16, a day cab configuration for a change, and this Wheelton trailer, I think it's going to make for a great delivery. So without further ado, let's get the truck started up and get on the road. I am not using any third-party modifications within this video, so everything you hear and see is Euro Truck Simulator 2 through and through. All right, let's get rolling. Hopefully everyone's doing well. It is great to be back here in ETS2 Showcases, as I say often, and I don't need to be signaling there. I'm just getting a little bit ahead of myself, which is good. That's not a bad habit to have. I say it all the time, I'm happy to be back in whatever game it may be, but it's the truth. I do enjoy doing this, and I love ETS2 as well. It's sometimes a bit of a challenge for me, given as I'm a North American, and I'm used to more North American road layouts, but who doesn't like a challenge every here and there? And it's a great game, and honestly has paved the way for a lot of what we get in American Truck Simulator, and no surprise, I love it. So we're back here in ETS2 with the 1.55 open beta that is now available for everyone. And this update, I'm going to be honest with you, here on in ETS2, and we're going to hopefully get out before the Mustang hits us. Thank you. He was coming in very quickly. I'm going to be honest, this update isn't the most, shall I say, feature rich for ETS2 players in terms of other visible or playable content, in terms of the changelog, and I guess going off of the top in terms of one of the more major additions, from what we can notice, is the new driving academy, well, the trucking driving proficiency module. That's the word I was looking for. The different module that's been added. That's a major kind of content addition here for ETS2 players. Definitely going to be interesting to try out. I actually haven't done any of the Driving Academy modules here on the channel yet. I really should. I think that would be a very entertaining thing to do. Comment down below if you want to see me do them on video. I think that would be a true challenge, because I haven't done many of them. I've only done a couple just to test out the feature, but I didn't bother recording it. Hindsight, probably should have recorded it. So let me know. Comment down below what you think about that one. And my word, just take a look at this scenery. West Balkans DLC, my friends. Beautiful DLC. If you don't have it, highly recommend it. Just like all new DLCs here in ETS2, Greece being the most recent, West Balkans just before it. Wonderful work by SCS Software. Anyway, so the driving proficiency module for the Driving Academy is, as I mentioned, probably the bigger feature of the 1.55 update in terms of what we can actually do. Otherwise, there's a few UI improvements along the way, most notably, well, I guess the little My Location hotkey, which is by default F on your keyboard. If you hit that when you're in the map view, it will just recenter your map back to your truck. Just a little bit of quality of life there. Also, the mail UI screens or the emails in-game have had a bit of an update as well. So that, again, just aligns more with the current UI upgrade of everything that's going on in ETS2, just the new alignment and new way of navigating this screen. So that's had a bit of an update there. The graphics settings page has also had a few quality of life improvements, most notably a bit of a visualization feature. So it will give, say, a few different options at, let's say, scaling in the game at 100%, at 50%, at 400%, for example. What will the game look like? That is what that feature does. Honestly, nice quality of life improvement, but that is that in itself. For those who have Vive la France, if you're starting a new save, you'll be able to experience some new custom city intros, which are great. Nice to see those rolling around, but again, that's very niche for those who are starting a new profile in those particular cities. And then when it comes to the vehicle side, there's only one thing, and that is technically the Volvo FH Tuning Pack DLC. So once again, owners of that DLC. That DLC overall has had a bit of an update. So the tuning pack features now work on the Series 6 Volvo that has been added to the game quite recently. And a few other parts kind of tweaked and added in for that truck. But again, that's the update there. Otherwise, I guess maybe okay, the more functional part of the update and what is probably the more significant part for 1.55 and something that has been in experimental beta here on the ETS2 side for quite some time. That is the asynchronous loading. Well, that, my friends, has come a long way from when it first came in on experimental beta. I remember seeing quite a bit of, shall I say, concern, but definitely some talk about, is it actually helping? It's, you know, being still stuttering along, whatever. I can say from trying it, well, so far in this video here, and then also into the American Truck Simulator side when I did the 1.55 update there, my word, is it smooth. The asynchronous loading truly is working now, albeit my computer is quite good. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not by any means top-end hardware, and it hasn't been updated in many years, or many years now, but it is still good, and the game is running on, well, the whole computer is solid state memory and storage, so things are pretty quick in terms of loading. Needless to say, prior to the asynchronous loading, there was still always these in-game stutters, right? Of different content is popping in basically into the engine. The asynchronous loading has significantly improved the 1% lows, from what I can tell, making the perceived performance basically of the game a lot smoother and nicer. I must say I'm very happy with this. Asynchronous loading, as of the open beta now, is working really well here in ETS2 from what I can tell, and once again, just happy to have it. Can't really complain. Again, cinematic camera or an exterior camera on a corner, not a good idea. That was nearly a classic Prime moment. I really have noticed it. Some will notice it in terms of their gameplay, some will not. It just depends on your computer. That is a major factor. But generally speaking, I am happy with the asynchronous loading, and once again, that is probably, along with the Driving Academy, one of the bigger, well, updates portions for the game in 1.55 here in ETS2. Last couple things, part of the changelog would be, well, there's behind-the-scenes updates on a couple of things. The Steam Achievements Manager and how the game deals with that has had a little bit of an update. Same with the text and the icon and so on, and that goes with the Save Manager as well. The Save logo, from what I can tell, has had a bit of an update. The performance of saving has had a little bit of a behind-the-scenes change. Again, all with the idea to improve efficiency and stop some potential lagging when, well, saving a game potentially. The other thing is that depending on the amount of mods you run, you may notice more of an improvement with the Save Manager. You may not. It's by no means a perfect solution, nor is there a lot of information on it at the moment. But from what I am gathering, there is a bit of a process improvement there. Once again, just nice things to have. They're behind the scenes, or under the hood, shall I say. But not really big content updates here in 1.55. And unlike in American Truck Simulator, where at very least the update had shall I say, a flagship item of the T680 next gen, the full integration of it. We haven't had that here in oh, we don't need to go that way, sorry, we gotta go continue around. We're heading technically towards Split. We haven't had that here in ETS2, which is honestly a little bit of a shame, but it could be okay for moving forward. Now I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping to see a little bit more of a content heavy update here in 1.55 to help balance things out a little bit. The last few updates, there have been some fairly significant updates, even here in ETS2, but they have been a little bit more thin overall. It'd be nice to see more happening, and I know there's a lot of reworks happening. I know there's DLCs on the horizon. There's other things coming here for ETS2, but, a different truck rework. Just another truck overall. Just there's some different content bits that I would have liked to see. As an ETS2 fan, just saying. And I know a lot of you would agree, but it is what it is. I honestly can't really complain because, again, everything here is free, and a lot of these features are significant. Don't get me wrong. Asynchronous loading, a lot of the behind-the-scenes features, some of the different updates and improvements. The Driving Academy module is quite significant if you're interested in that. If you own select DLCs, you will notice a few other items that are included. But generally speaking, the update doesn't have a ton for immediate use or consumption for the mass amount of ETS2 players. That, is a new truck or a trailer, whatever. Hopefully this changes moving forward, and I think it will, given that, well, we have Nordic Horizons DLC on the horizon, no pun intended, and actually just recently there was a blog post put out on it on the road network site you will be able to find within the DLC, and shall I say, it's extensive. To no surprise, obviously a very significant DLC in its own right, and the road networks are going to be mighty unique. Lots of geographical challenges to navigate as well, which will be just very interesting to see as it comes in. But to get up to the Nordic Horizons DLC, there is the Scandinavian refresh or rework that is currently, well, ongoing. Not anything released, but definitely more news on it as of recently, in a brand new city. Arnhem, I believe is how you'd say it. Please, once again, comment down below if I've somehow messed that up, which I probably have, because that is the Prime Simulation way of doing things with pronunciation, which honestly, just embrace at this point. Feel free to correct me all the time. It's probably the best way to move forward. Regardless, new city that will be coming into the region up in, I believe that was Denmark, which is going to be lovely to see, and that rework project will obviously precede the Nordic Horizons DLC, which again means that the Scandinavia refresh will then, well, for the Scandinavia DLC, by the way, that's for the owners of that, that update should be then coming sooner than later, based off of how long we've had the Nordic Horizons DLC talked about at this point. But again, there's going to be a lot more to figure out here, and it's just going to be interesting to see how things play out over time. Again, new updates, different DLCs on the way. We have Iceland confirmed now. Interesting choice, considering it's a complete island out and away. That's going to be a very interesting introduction, and which is, I understand why, considering Iceland is definitely going to be more on the picture side of things, given its disconnection from the rest of continental Europe. But at the same time, the UK is sitting there without a rework project, and I am all fingers and toes crossed at this point, honestly, hoping that before Iceland, sorry, we get a full UK rework. That would be fantastic, and I really hope that that's the case, given that the closest connections to the ETS2 map would be into the northwestern side of the UK. Again, time will tell. I'm really hoping that that is the stepping stone. If we have the Scandinavia DLC refresh for the Nordic Horizons DLC, I'm really hoping we get the UK rework at long last. My word, is it overdue? And it is something that we talk about every time a new rework is launched. Why is this not being done? Obviously, a lot of the reasons behind it up until this point has been about, well, a lot of interconnectivity in continental Europe happens with the various DLCs, and reworking some of those core countries throughout, well, the older sections really, are pivotal for players driving across to the new DLCs and connecting the various, basically, corridors that SE Software has gone on in the expansion of the ETS2 map. The UK has been pretty much left in its own little area, as it is geographically, untouched. As shameful as it is, it's the way it is. But I'm hoping, as I mentioned, with Iceland, that changes that. Oh my word, is that AI tailgating the life out of the other AI there. Gee whiz. So realistic. But again, I'm hoping Iceland changes that for the UK. I think it could be the reason that brings in the rework, honestly. And we will just have to see. Again, bit of a hope there. Hope and a dream, but I think we've got a good shot at having it come in with or just before Iceland, which would be fantastic. Now, down the line still, but a good chance overall. So yes, 1.55 open beta. What do I think about it? I think it's a good update. Is it something that a lot of you need to opt into right away? Depends if you want to check out asynchronous loading early, or if you're an owner of the FH tuning pack and want to customize your Series 6 Volvo, by all means, check it out. Or if you want to check out the Driving Academy module. Perfect. Try it out. If not, I'd honestly hold out here on ETS2 until the full 1.55 release, which probably won't be too much longer, you know, as of recording this video, a little bit earlier on into the release cycle of the beta, but still probably won't be too crazy long. Asynchronous loading being one of the bigger mechanics in terms of the update that has been, well, updated and completely overhauled, has been in experimental beta, as I mentioned earlier, here at ETS2 for quite some time. So I couldn't imagine, now obviously I don't know the behind the scenes of what SE Software status is in testing, but I could imagine that given the performance of asynchronous loading right now, it's nearing the end stages of its testing period. So and we're going to go through the automatic transponder here. Oh, I just hit the gate. Classic Prime. We'll just skip over that, don't worry. Well, I do have a bit of a bull bar on the front. Little metal bar on the front of this Volvo. There we go. That's to protect against my my lack of driving ability in ETS2. I'd hope that a lot of the testing is done and we're in the later stages of it. So the beta is really just a wide-scale rollout just to make sure there's no other bugs that roll up or conflicts. So I can't imagine it being too long, so I would honestly just hold out for the majority of you, unless if, again, you want to try out a particular feature that I've mentioned today and that is available within the beta. You do you. Completely you do you. But especially for those who run a lot of mods, don't bother going into the beta and risking it until the full release, and when a lot of the authors will be doing a lot of updates right now anyways with the 1.55. Or at least preparing for it. I'd just probably hold off if I were you. But it is good overall to, again, have some of these updates. Not trying to rag on it at all, but just being honest. As I try to do. A lot of you think that, and I mean, rightfully so, that when I'm given, you know, content from SES software to try out early or something like that, that I am just inherently biased with it. I am not. SES software do not pay me to say anything. In fact, they don't do anything like that. They just occasionally, graciously, will provide me some content to try out. And that is pretty much that. That's the story of it. And I share it with you. And that's how that whole system works. Not complicated at all, my friends. There's no fine print, no contracts, no nothing. Just a few emails back and forth. And thank you very much on my end. And of course, on their end as well. They are very grateful for what I do. But I am more grateful for what they provide to me at times. Which I think is the only fair thing to say. Now, let's go ahead and try and reverse this in here. Right in beside the shipping container. Beautiful. Going to be a fun little reverse here. All right. Give ourselves lots of space. Test out turning radius on this little day cab Volvo. And this Wilton trailer. Should have a decent amount of space over there. Let's curve it back this way now. Not too much though. Oh, this is going to get a little bit close for comfort. I had a good line. And then I started to mess it up. So we're going to just fix this by pulling forward here a little bit. Okay. Let's come back here a little bit more. And then over here. Just let it kind of drift in. It's a nice little tight squeeze. Extremely tight squeeze. I did not leave a whole lot of space. Oh, I'm right up against the container. Okay, we're gonna come this way. Oh my. I definitely cut the corner a little bit. Put a nice little pinstripe down the side of my Wilton trailer. But I got some side protectors on it. Maybe that will help. Yeah. Definitely squeezed it in there a little bit, but you know what? That's okay. Not the worst delivery I've done, not the smoothest, not the best, but it's not the worst overall. Thank you all so much for watching. What a great first look. Yes, talked about the beta. There's not a ton in terms of main content, but that is okay. Sometimes we just need a roller update to bring bigger and better things down the line and also set the foundation with some pretty significant features overall for the game. Yes, more behind the scenes, but to make sure that ETS2 can progress as we move forward. Comment down below if you want to see anything in particular from me here in ETS2 or the other games that I generally cover. And otherwise, once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.